playing today's best songs.
And we're listening to Phil Haley and the Comments, and this afternoon we're actually in the studio is Phil Haley and the Comments. Well, we've got one comment, haven't we, in the background?
Yes.
Not saying anything, making no comment.
That's right, yeah.
But you must have had an interest in music when you were growing up.
Oh, yeah, I mean, you know, sort of like mid-late 50s, right into the 60s and what have you. That's what we did.
I think that looking up on the internet, you're going back, I think you've got some gigs in England, haven't you, in September?
A few, yes, a good few.
This is a rather short visit.
It is, yes, yeah.
So how many, are you just doing shows in Mildura? Have you done anywhere else?
No, we're not doing any more shows. We just come over for Barry and to do the Winter Sun, and that's it.
Are you doing any sightseeing while you're here?
Well, I don't think we're going to get time, really.
I
was actually going sightseeing. I had one book this afternoon.
Oh no! Tell me, what about some of the other bands that are here for the Winter Sun Festival in Mildura?
Yeah, you've got some great Australian bands. We worked with the Atomic High Tones. We went and saw them last night and what have you. You've got Wes that's up here as well. Penny and the Fly By Nights. I love the band. There's some great bands. You've got Pat as well. Was it Pat? We saw at Winter Sun last time and what have you. Some great bands, great musicians.
Now, what about in other parts of the world? Do you have like rock and roll festivals like we've got at Winter Sun up there in the Gold Coast, like we're having here at Mildura for the first time? Are there many of them about?
There are quite a lot, especially Europe and what have you. You know, we've just been in Denmark, as I say, Berlin and what have you. You know, so there's quite a few going on.
Now, when you talk about Europe, they seem to have, for a number of years, been into rockabilly, because I've noticed that in the music business, they've had a lot of the old releases, American releases of rockabilly, have all come out of Europe. You know, they've all come out of European labels. So why do they like rockabilly?
It's just a big melting pot. You know, there's the old the rockabilly feel. You know, there's psychobilly and you know, then it moves on. I find in Australia, you know, they have that sort of like early country slant with it and what have you, you know, that western swing type thing and what have you, as well as, you know, what you call hard rockabilly bands and what have you. So it's just a big melting pot, you know, there's stuff coming in, you know, just comes in.
Now, I noticed with lots of the you know, Australian bands that try and play old rock and roll and that, they just don't quite get the feel of it, and I keep trying to tell people. I noticed with you, we spoke briefly before about the backbeat. What's this? There used to be a phrase, backbeat. You know, there used to be even an instrumental out by the Rondells called Backbeat Number 1. Now, what is it?
It's just sort of like that Bill Haley sound, you know, the snare sort of like, it controls the mood of the song, and all the percussion comes from the double bass, and Alan and myself, the saxophone and guitar, we play sort of like a lot of harmony notes and what have you. It gives it that distinctive sort of like Bill Haley feel, if you like, and what have you. But yeah, the snare is king. It, you know, it picks everything up or just settles it down and whatever, you know, and that's the sound.
Now, your double bass player, he doesn't get up and do all the antics, does he?
Oh, yes, and a few more, yeah.
Like what?
Oh, well, you just have to come and see the show, you know, but great bass player, great bass player.
Now, what response have you had in other countries? You know, you mentioned you haven't quite been to America yet, but hopefully you will be able to get to. Are there pockets of Europe that you're more popular in than others, or?
We find we're sort of like going more and more over Europe. There's some people in Berlin that have come from Poland to see us. And, you know, we never knew we had any sort of like fans, if you like, in Poland and what have you. So it just seems to be growing. We do a lot in France as well, you know. It just, you know, it's just good time music that we do, and you know, we like to make sure people enjoy themselves.
We're a country music station here in Mildura. I know that country's not really big in England, never has been. Although a good friend of mine, Tony Goodacre, was...
well, I know Tony, yeah.
He's been to Mildura. He's performed at the Mildura Country Music Festival a couple of times. So
Yeah.
has the global recession had an impact in sort of music in England, in the UK?
I think it has everywhere. And of course computers and what have you now, it's easy to copy things and this, that and other, so...
Well, you're certainly going to, I think, Friday night. I've got to work out where you are tonight. Well, you're at the Mildura Sets.
Yes, we are.
Then you're doing something in the Feast Street, aren't you, tomorrow?
Yep.
Just, what have you worked out what set you're going to do there?
No, whatever comes on, you know, whatever comes on the day.
And then you pop across to the Edge Hotel. I think that's tomorrow night, Saturday night.
Yeah.
And on Sunday, I've got to try and remember, you're down at the Ornamental Lakes Park, aren't you?
Yes, we are, yeah.
And then you're at the Grand with the Elvis guy.
That's right, yeah.
Gabe Phoenix. What's he like? I haven't seen him. Have you seen him?
I haven't actually seen him. We have been over here and we went with an Elvis guy, I can't remember what they call him now. And they also had Red Westover as well, who were Elvis's sort of like bodyguard come, you know. And so we did a tour with them, and we were even out in Adelaide, we even got out there as well and what have you. So, whatever, we'll have a good night.
Well, I noticed
and it's the Elvis anniversary as well.
Yes,
so,
yes.
So don't forget that.
Yeah, well, actually, the oldies station in town, it has played, for a number of years, it plays 24 hours of Elvis on the day.
Right.
You know, I think it ends up playing, I don't know, 400 songs or something. He used to have lots of short songs.
Yeah.
So you could get about 450 songs in a day if you play them continuously. So that's a feature that we've had in Mildura for a long, long time. And I think we're doing it again. It's all part of a weekend, you know.
Right, okay.
It's pretty silly doing 24 hours of Elvis, but I remember that in America, a long time ago, I think a radio station actually did a week of Elvis. Nothing but Elvis.
Well, I'm not surprised.
Now, I notice I haven't got you on the paddle boat. Is it because they were worried about your antics? They didn't want to lose anyone overboard?
I don't really know about that. I'll have to have a word with Barry about that. I know the sax player can't swim.
Yeah. Well, Phil Haley and the Comments, our special guest today here for the Winterstone Festival and here in Mildura for the very first time. Do you get to see any other parts of Australia? I know that you've been, in your visits, you've been, well, obviously to the Gold Coast. Have you got to other parts? Sydney, obviously, you've been to?
Yes, yeah, we've been to Canberra.
Melbourne?
Yeah, we've seen quite a bit actually. So, and still learning as well. We haven't seen any kangaroos this time, have we? No.
We'll just get someone to drive you out of town a few k's.
We were looking last night on the way up and we still didn't see any.
You've just got to get over into the Wentworth Shire. I think the Wentworth Shire is the municipal area just over the other side of the river. Once you go over the bridge, you're in Wentworth Shire. I think the last count they had a people population of something like 5,000 people and 1 million kangaroos.
That sounds about right.
I've seen things on the YouTube, and it's exactly what you see Bill Haley wear in some of his appearances that you can also see on YouTube or his movies.
Oh yeah, so they're exactly the same design and what have you. So
same sound.
I hope so. I mean, Bill Haley had quite a big band, you know. So we're trying. Yeah,
well, you've got a 4-piece, haven't you?
Really was sort of like the biggest rock and roll act in the world for 2 years, and then gone. And but it was still there.
Well, welcome to Mildura, Phil. It's fabulous talking to you, and I hope lots of people go along and see. Okay, and thanks for coming and talking to us.
You're more than welcome, Max. Thank you.